Okay, so it says here that we are at stage 5, paragraph page 348. Okay, and our last headword was by new word type of lesson. Okay, so let's start with our revision. Let me just scroll down. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Okay, I'm ready.
Which do you think was the best century in history to live in? Which do you think was the best century in history to live in? I think the
I think the 21st century
century was the best
was the
century
best century
in history to
in
live in.
history to live in.
Where do you like the fashion in clothes at the moment? Do you like the fashion in clothes at the moment? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I
like
like
the fashion in
the fashion
clothes
in clothes
at the
at
moment.
the moment.
Very good. Does this school have a gate outside it? Does this school have a gate outside it? Yes or no?
No,
This school doesn't
the
have a
school
gate
doesn't have a gate
outside it.
outside it.
Very good. Does some people worry too much? Do some people worry too much? Yes, some
Yes,
people
some
worry too
people
much.
worry too much.
Are you worried about your future? Are you worried about your future? Yes or no?
No, I
I'm not
don't.
worried
I'm not worried
about my future.
about my future.
Very good. Why should you not worry if you don't immediately understand some of the grammar in this book? Why should you not worry if you don't immediately understand some of the grammar in this book? I shouldn't worry
I shouldn't
if I
worry
don't
if I
immediately
don't immediately
understand some of the
understand
grammar
some of the
in
grammar
this book
in this
because
book
I will
because
practice
I
it
will
again
practice it again
in other lessons
in other
and
lessons
I can study
and
it
I
at
can
home.
study it at home.
Very good. When we're in a hurry, what must we do? When we're in a hurry, what must we do? When we're in a
When we
hurry,
are in a
we
hurry,
must run.
we must run.
Very good. What's the furthest you've ever run? What's the furthest you've ever run? The furthest
The
I've
farthest
ever run
I've ever run
is
is 1 kilometer.
very good. Okay. When do we use the present continuous? When do we use the present continuous? We use the
We
present
use the
continuous
present
for
continuous
an action
for an
that
action
is in
that
progress
is in
now.
progress now.
Give me an
In,
example. Give me an example, please. I am speaking English
I'm
now.
speaking English now.
Very good. When do we use the past continuous? When do we use the past continuous? We use the
We
past
use the
continuous
past
for
continuous
an action
for an action
that was in
that
progress
was in
at a
progress
particular
at
time
a particular time
in the past.
in the past.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I was speaking
I was speaking
English at this
English
time
at this
yesterday.
time yesterday.
Very good. Were you chatting to anybody when I came into the room at the beginning of the lesson? Were you chatting to anybody when I came into the room at the beginning of the lesson? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
wasn't chatting
I
to
wasn't chatting
anybody
to
when you
anybody
came into
when
the
you
room
came into the
at the
room
beginning of the
at the
lesson.
beginning of the lesson.
Very good. Were the students standing or sitting when I left the classroom at the end of the last lesson? Were the students standing or sitting when I left the classroom at the end of the last lesson? The students
The
were
students were sitting
when you left the
when you
classroom
left the
at
classroom
the end
at the
of the
end of
last lesson.
the lesson,
Last lesson.
a last lesson.
Was it raining while you were coming to school today? Was it raining while you were coming to school today? Yes or no?
No,
It
it
wasn't
was
raining
it wasn't raining.
while I was coming
I was when I was coming
to school today.
to school today.
What were you doing at this time last Sunday? What were you doing at this time last Sunday? I was
I was I
learning
was
English.
I
I
was
know your
watching
Sunday
movie.
watching. I was watching a movie
I was watching a movie
at this time last
at
Sunday.
this time last Sunday.
Where do you think most people in your town were sleeping at midnight last night? Do you think most people in your town were sleeping at midnight last night? Yes, I
Yes,
think
I
most
think
people
most
in
people
my
in
town
my town
were sleeping at
were sleeping
midnight last
at
night.
midnight last night.
Right, where were you living 10 years ago? Where were you living 10 years ago? I was living
I was living I
where?
was
Here?
living
There?
here
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Right, about how much does a doctor earn a year in your country? About how much does a doctor earn a year in your country? A doctor
A
earns
doctor
about
earns about 300 yen,
like a year, like 300 million yen, like that.
300 million
A
yen.
year in my
A
country.
year in my country,
Very
300 yen.
300. That's very small. That's two ramen. Very good. Okay, so next, would it be okay for a man to wear jeans and trainers if he was going to a formal dinner? Would it be okay for a man to wear jeans and trainers if he was going to a formal dinner? No, it
No,
wouldn't be
it
okay
wouldn't be
for a
okay
man
for
to
a man
wear jeans
to
and
wear
trainers
jeans and
if he
trainers
was going
if he was
to a
going
formal
to
dinner.
a formal dinner.
He should wear
He should
a suit
wear
and
a
tie.
suit and tie.
Megan, when we meet somebody for the first time, what can we say? When we meet somebody for the first time, what can we say? When we meet
When we
somebody
meet
for the
somebody
first
for
time,
the first
we
time,
can say,
we can
nice to meet
say,
you.
"Nice to meet you."
And what do we say if we want to be more formal? And what do we say if we want to be more formal? If we want to
If we
be
want
more
to
formal,
be more
we
formal,
say, how do you
we
do?
say, "How do you do?"
And what does the other person reply? And what does the other person reply? The other person
The other person
replies, how do
replies,
you do?
"How do you do?"
Very good. Is it easy to persuade people to give their money away? Is it easy to persuade people to give their money away? No, it
No,
isn't
it
easy
isn't
to
easy
persuade
to
people
press away people
to
or
give their money
to give the
away.
money away.
It's difficult.
It's difficult.
How often do you go to the hairdressers? How often do you go to the hairdressers? I go
I
to
go
the
to
hairdressers
the hairdressers uh,
twice a
two
year, two
twice a
times,
year,
6 times a year. How many?
uh, 6 times a year.
6 times a year. So once every 2 months. Very good. Next, why do you think some films are so popular? Why do you think some films are so popular? I think some
I think
films are
some
so
films are
popular
so popular
because they tell
because they tell
interesting or
interesting
exciting stories.
or exciting stories.
Very good. Is it grammatically correct to say I've seen her yesterday? Is it grammatically correct to say I've seen her yesterday? No, it
No,
isn't
it isn't
grammatically correct
grammatically correct
to say I've
to
seen her
say I've
yesterday.
seen her
We
yesterday.
should say
We should
I saw
say
her
I
yesterday
saw her
instead.
yesterday. Yes,
Instead.
instead,
Very good. What does a bathroom usually contain? What does a bathroom usually contain? A bathroom
a
usually
bathroom usually
contains a bath
contains
or
a
shower,
bath or shower,
a toilet, and a
a
basin.
toilet, and a basin.
Very good. Which do you prefer, baths or showers? Which do you prefer, baths or showers? I prefer
I prefer bath
two
to
showers.
showers.
What's a rain shower? What's a rain shower? A rain shower
A rain
is a short
shower is
period
a short
of rain.
period of rain.
Very good. What does a mirror do? What does a mirror do? A mirror
A mirror
reflects light.
reflects light.
In which room in a house do we usually find a mirror? In which room in a house do we usually find a mirror? We usually
We
find a
usually
mirror
find a
in a
mirror
bathroom
in the
or
bathroom
a bedroom.
or a bedroom.
Very good. What does the active voice communicate? What does the active voice communicate? The active voice
The active voice
communicates that the
communicates
subject
that the
does
subject
the action.
does the action.
What does the passive voice communicate? What does the passive voice communicate? The passive
The
voice
passive voice
communicates that the
communicates
subject
that the subject
receives the action.
receives the action.
How do we form the passive voice? How do we form the passive voice? We form
We
the passive
form the
voice
passive
with the
voice
verb to be
with the verb to be
and a
to,
past
and the
participle.
past participle.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. My car
My
was
car
washed last month.
was washed last month.
Many computers, many
Many
computers
computers
were made in
were
China.
internal
Were made in China.
were made in China.
The students will be taught, or the students will
The
be taught
students will be told
by the teacher.
by the teacher.
Very good. Okay. So that's the end of our revision. Let's
Yeah.
continue this new work, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so listen. We must remember to put the verb to be in the right tense. For example, John has eaten pasta becomes the pasta has been eaten by John. Okay, so let's practice. I'm going to give you a sentence in the active voice and I want you to put it in the passive voice, okay? Here we go. Number
Okay.
1. John eats the pasta. John eats the pasta. The pasta is eaten by John. No, the pasta
The pasta
is eaten by
is
John.
eaten by John.
John ate the pasta.
John,
John ate the pasta. The
John
pasta,
ate the pasta.
the pasta
Pasta.
was
The
eaten
pasta
by John.
was eaten by John.
Very good. John has eaten the pasta. John has eaten the pasta. The pasta
The pasta
has been eaten
has been eaten
by John.
by John.
Very good. John will eat the pasta. John will eat the pasta. The pasta
The
will
pasta
be eaten
will be
by
eaten
John.
by John.
Very good. John is eating the pasta. John is eating the pasta. The pasta
The
is
pasta
being
is
eaten
be eaten
by John.
by John.
John was eating the pasta. John was eating the pasta. The pasta
The
was
pasta
being
was
eaten
be eaten
by John.
by John.
John would eat the pasta. John would eat the pasta. The pasta
The
would
pasta
be
would
eaten by
be
John.
eaten by John.
Very good. Now we're going to practice with some different sentences. Okay, here we go. I
Okay.
clean my car every Saturday. I clean my car every Saturday. My car
My
is
car
cleaned by
is
me
cleaned by me
every Saturday.
every Saturday.
He forgot him. She forgot him. He was forgotten
He was forgotten
by her.
by her.
My boss is going to write that email. My boss is going to write that email. That email
That
is
email
going to be
is
written
going to be written
by my
by
boss.
my boss.
We are fixing the car. We are fixing the car. The car
The
is
car
being fixed
is being fixed
by us.
by us.
They have followed all the advice. They have followed all the advice. All the
All
advice
the
has been
advice
followed
has
by
been
them.
followed by them.
Very good. Okay. Okay, so let's repeat. Force.
Force
Make somebody do.
makes somebody do.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word force is a verb. It means to make someone do something they do not want to do. Make somebody do also means to force somebody to do something. For example, teachers force you to give long answers during the Callan Method lesson because it is important for you to speak as much as possible. Let's practice. Do I force you to give long answers during the lesson? Do I force you to give long answers during the lesson? Yes, you
Yes,
force me
you force me
to give long
to give
answers
long answers
during the
or
lesson.
during the lesson
Why? Why? Because it is
because
important
it is
to
important
speak
to
as much as
speak as
possible.
much as possible.
Very good. Okay, next listen. In the construction make somebody do, the word make means force or cause. For example, the teacher made me correct my dictations means that he forced me to correct my dictations. The sentence sunny weather makes me feel happy means that it caused me to feel happy. Let's practice. When you were a child, did your parents make you eat your vegetables? When you were a child, did your parents make you eat your vegetables? Yes or no?
Yes,
When I was a child,
when while I was a child,
my parents
my
made me
parents
eat
made me eat
my vegetables.
my, my vegetables.
What kind of films make you laugh? What kind of films make you laugh? The kind of
The
films
kind of
that make
films
me laugh
that make me laugh
are comedy
are
films.
comedy film,
Very good. Next, repeat snack,
a snack,
break,
break,
biscuit,
biscuit,
crisp.
crisp.
Very good. Okay, listen, biscuit is a noun. It is also known as cookie in American English. It's a small flat cake that is dry and usually sweet. Crisp is a noun. It is also known as chips in American English. Snack is a noun. It is something small that people eat between meals, like a sandwich or a bag of crisp. Break is a noun. It means to stop for a short time in order to have a rest or eating something. For example, we sometimes eat biscuits or crisps during our morning break. Let's practice. What is a snack? What is a snack? A snack
A
is
snack
something small
is something
that
small
people eat
that people
between
eat
meals,
between
like a
meals,
sandwich
like a
or a
sandwich
bag of crisp
or a bag of
of
crisps.
crisp. Very good. Which would you prefer as a snack during a morning break? A bag of crisp or some biscuits? Which would you prefer as a snack during a morning break? A bag of crisp or some biscuits? I'd prefer
I prefer uh, some biscuits
to a bag of
to a
crisp
bag of crisps
as a snack as a snack
as a snack
during a morning break.
during a morning break.
Very good. Next a bit. To be born.
To be born,
Very good. Okay, listen. To be born means to come into existence through birth. When a baby is born, it comes out of its mother's body. For example, I was born on the 9th of May 1994. I was born in the Philippines. I learned to walk about a year after I was born. Let's practice. Where were you born? Where were you born? I was born in
I was born in
Japan.
Japan.
Very good. Okay, next. How soon after you were born did you learn to walk? How soon after you were born did you learn to walk? I learned to walk
I learned to
about a
walk
year
about a year
after I was born.
after I was born.
Very good. Next, repeat murder.
Mother,
Very good. Okay, listen. Murder is a noun. It is a crime of intentionally killing a person. For example, most people don't like reading books with stories about murders in them. Let's practice. Do you like reading books with stories about murders in them? Do you like reading books with stories about murders in them? Yes or no?
no,
I don't like
I
reading
don't
books
like reading
with
books
stories about
with stories about
murders in them.
murders in them.
Very good. Next, repeat. Prison.
Listen,
One more. Prison, like jail. Prison.
prison.
Very good. Okay, listen. Prison is a noun. It is also known as jail. It's a building where criminals are kept as punishment or where accused of a crime are kept before their trial. For example, if you killed someone, you will be put in prison. I wouldn't like to see inside a prison because it would make me feel unhappy. Let's practice. Would you like to see inside a prison? Would you like to see inside a prison? Yes or no?
No, I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't like to
like
see
to
inside a
see
prison.
inside a prison
Why not? Why not? Because
because
it would make me feel
it make me feel
very unhappy.
very unhappy.
Very good. Next, repeat. Pupil.
We feel
One
we
more. Pupil.
pupil.
Very good. Okay, listen. Pupil is a noun. A pupil who is a child in school, like a student. Most pupils in my country have to wear a uniform. Okay, let's practice. What's a pupil? What's a pupil? A pupil
The
is a
pupil
child
is a child
who's in school.
who's in school.
Do most pupils in your country have to wear a uniform? Do most pupils in your country have to wear a uniform? Yes or no?
Yes, the
Most pupils in
most
my country
pupils in my
have
country
to wear a
have to
uniform.
wear a uniform.
Very good. Next, repeat. Root.
Wood.
Very good. Okay, listen. Root is a noun. It is part of a plant or a tree that grows under the ground and gets water from the soil. For example, these are the roots of the tree. We call the part of a tree that's in the land the roots. Let's practice. What do we call the part of a tree that's in the land? What do we call the part of a tree that's in the land? We call
We
the
call
part of a
the
tree
parts of a tree
that's in the land
that's in the
the
land
roots.
the roots.
Very good. Next, repeat memory.
Memory.
Very good. Okay, listen. Memory is a noun. It is the ability to remember things, places, experiences, and people. For example, I remember things easily. I have a good memory. I easily forget things. I have a bad memory. Let's practice. Have you got a good memory? Have you got a good memory? Yes or no?
No, I
I
don't have.
I haven't got
I
a good
haven't got
memory.
a good
I've
memory.
got a bad
I've
memory.
got a bad memory.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Okay, our reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 240. 240,
Okay.
and our last headword was public. Okay, so
Okay.
let's start with page 241, show.
Okay. So, oh,
Show me your book.
okay.